You want to keep your dog safe in the yard, but you really do not want to dig up your entire lawn to bury wires. I get it, but choosing the wrong wireless fence could mean your dog is running down the street while you are getting a false alert on your phone. Today, I am breaking down the best wireless dog fences on the market, from the budget-friendly options to the premium GPS collars. I have spent a ridiculous amount of time setting these up, walking perimeters, and seeing how they actually perform in the real world. Let's start. Halo Collar 5. You have probably seen the ads for this one everywhere. I mean, they really push the marketing hard on social media. When I first got my hands on it, I was genuinely excited to see if it lived up to the hype. The packaging is premium, and the initial unboxing makes you feel like you just bought a very expensive piece of tech. But then you actually have to set it up. And well, that is where the honeymoon phase kind of ends. The app looks nice, but getting the collar to consistently talk to the satellites took way more pacing around my yard than I expected. I followed the instructions perfectly, but the connection just felt a bit finicky right out of the gate. Here's what really matters though. The boundary drift is something you just cannot ignore. I set a perimeter right along my tree line and tested it by walking the collar out there myself. Sometimes it would be right where I told it to. Other times I was a solid 10 feet past the boundary before it even registered. You know, that's a massive problem if you live near a busy road. Then there's the battery life. They claim it lasts a full day, but if your dog is actually outside, moving around and pinging the GPS frequently, you're going to be charging this thing a lot. It basically becomes another daily chore. Number 5. PetSafe Wireless Containment System. This one has been around forever, and it takes a totally different approach. Instead of GPS, it uses a central transmitter that you plug into an outlet inside your house. It basically creates a circular radio frequency dome around your property. The appeal here is purely how simple it is to get running. You literally just plug the box into the wall, turn it on, and adjust a dial to make the circle bigger or smaller. There is no app to download and no satellites to connect to. I really appreciated that simplicity when I first pulled it out of the box. But here's the catch. Your yard is probably not a perfect circle. My yard certainly is not. Because you were forced into this circular shape, you end up giving up a ton of usable space in the corners of your property. If you try to expand the circle to reach the corners, you end up sending the signal straight into your neighbor's yard or out into the street. And then we have to talk about the signal wobble. Well, the radio frequency does not just stop like a brick wall. It fluctuates based on weather, power surges, and even large metal objects inside your house. I watched the boundary line shift by about 4 feet just because it started raining outside. That is incredibly confusing for a dog trying to learn their limits. Also, if you have any kind of hill or slope on your property, this system is going to struggle heavily. 4. Mimofpet Wireless Dog Fence. Now we are moving into some genuinely surprising territory. This is a brand you might not have heard of, but they are doing some really cool things with wireless containment. It operates on a similar radio frequency idea, but with much better execution. What I really like about this one is the dual functionality. It is not just a wireless fence, it also doubles as a remote training collar. You get a handheld remote that you can use when you are out walking your dog or teaching basic commands. Having both systems in one package is incredibly convenient. Portability is another huge win here. You know, if you take your dog camping or to a friend's house, you can just pack up the transmitter and set up a new boundary in about 2 minutes. The battery in the transmitter actually holds a charge, so you don't even need to be plugged into a wall while you're outside. The signal stability is noticeably better here compared to older radio systems. I walked the boundary line over and over, and the correction zone stayed exactly where I put it. The collar itself feels very durable, and my dog did not seem bothered by wearing it all day. It still has the limitation of only creating a circular boundary, so you have to keep that in mind. You cannot draw custom shapes around your flower beds or driveway. Pawton 4-in-1 Wireless Dog Fence. This one caught my attention because it packs an insane amount of technology into a single device without asking you for a monthly subscription fee. They call it a 4-in-1 system, and it actually lives up to that claim. The setup process was refreshingly simple. You use their app to connect to the collar, and from there you have total control over how you want to manage your dog. The interface is clean and does not overload you with useless data. It just gives you exactly what you need to see. One of the standout features is the real-time tracking. Well, a lot of companies claim real-time, but Pawton actually delivers. When I opened the app, I could see exactly where the collar was in my yard with almost zero delay. If your dog does manage to get out somehow, you can track them down immediately. I also really appreciate the approach to training and correction. It uses a combination of sound and vibration before it ever applies a static correction. You know, most dogs figure out the sound warning within a day or two and never even feel the shock. The collar is totally waterproof too, so if your dog loves splashing in puddles, you do not have to worry about the tech frying. It brings GPS functionality and tracking into a price bracket that makes sense for normal people. It doesn't have the massive brand recognition yet, but it absolutely deserves a spot near the top of the list. Number 2. Rainleoti GPS Wireless Dog Fence. Yes, the name is a mouthful, but do not let that distract you from how ridiculously good this collar is. This is true GPS technology that completely removes the need for transmitters, wires, or Wi-Fi signals. When you get this collar, you are communicating directly with positioning satellites. I took this out to a massive open field to test the boundary limits, and the accuracy was completely locked in. You can set the radius anywhere from roughly 100 feet all the way up to a massive 3,000 feet. Here is what matters most for a lot of you. There is absolutely no app required and zero subscription fees. You do the entire setup right on the collar itself using a small digital screen. I mean, it takes about 60 seconds to lock in your center point and choose your distance. The collar strap is highly adjustable, and the receiver unit is surprisingly lightweight considering the battery inside. I got a solid couple of days of use before needing to recharge it, which is a huge relief. You do not have to panic if you forget to plug it in for one night. The only reason it sits at number 2 is that it only does circular boundaries based on a center point. You cannot draw custom shapes. But if you just want a reliable, subscription-free GPS fence that works exactly how it is supposed to work, this is an absolute powerhouse. SpotOn GPS Dog Fence. This is the heavy hitter. The price tag is high, but once you actually use it, you understand exactly where every single dollar went. It is fundamentally in a completely different league than anything else on the market. Instead of relying on a circle, you actually take the collar, walk the exact perimeter of your property, and the collar drops GPS pins to create your custom fence. You can route it around your driveway, behind your shed, and right up to your property line. The precision is actually mind-blowing. I tested this in a heavily wooded area because trees are the ultimate enemy of GPS signals. SpotOn uses their true location technology, which taps into over 100 satellites across multiple networks simultaneously. While other collars lost signal entirely under the trees, SpotOn never dropped the connection once. The app experience is completely frictionless. You can save multiple different fences, so if you have a summer cabin or visit family, you just pull up that saved location and tap a button. The training program they include is also incredibly detailed. It basically holds your hand and shows you exactly how to introduce your dog to the system without stressing them out. Bottom line, if you have the budget for it, you should stop looking right now and just get the SpotOn. It is not just a gadget, it is an actual investment in peace of mind. It gives you the exact custom boundaries of a buried wire fence with the freedom of premium GPS technology. That's all for today, folks.